What is up, guys? It is time for Baitman Live. Let me fix this thing real quick so we can see the right angles of everything. Boom, there we go. Let me know when you're in here. Leave me a comment. My battery is already low tonight, and I've got a battery jumper hooked up, and it's not working. Nothing ever works right on the Baitman show, just to let you guys know that, in case it's the first time you've joined. But tonight we're going to talk about one of my favorite things in the world, which is a big worm. And I got some new products and stuff I want to show off as well. What's going on, Blake Hall? Mr. Gunnersville, I know you love a big worm, Blake. I send a lot of them to you and your clients. We're going to talk about that tonight. I got a few more things to go over, stuff I've got in. We're going to talk about scent on worms. We're going to talk about different types of hooks. Hopefully my phone doesn't crash. If it does, it does. So I'm going to go kind of fast, but I'm going to try to cover a little bit of everything. As always, guys, hit that like button for me. Share it up to all your friends, and we'll get this going. Man, I've been super busy the last 2 weeks, and I really appreciate it, guys. I've been small. What's up, Shay? What's up, Scott? Get some shout outs here. What's up, Jesse Mitchell? Miss Kayak. What's up, Tracy? William Knowles. Hey, James, how you guys doing? Hopefully you guys have been able to slow down. I have not. What's up, Brent Lang? How you doing, bud? Baxter's Bug, Brent. I'm telling you, call Dirty Jigs. Keep hitting the phone on them, guys. They are way behind. Everybody keeps getting orders. I don't, so I'm kind of getting frustrated over there. But you know, it is what it is. How you doing, Todd? JoJo, I will be at home tomorrow. Tomorrow's my day off. I have not had a day off in a while, so I'm gonna take it. What's up, Dave Moore? So let's go ahead and talk right now. First, new products, and I want to give an update. This bait right here, I did get another thing in. No, I didn't, Jesse. I do know my buddy Kelly Jordan didn't have a good time. Truck did not sell. I decided I'm going to keep it. I'm going to order some parts, take it over to Defuse Body Shop, and we're going to make a brand new looking Dodge Ram. Going to put a new matte black bumper, roll paint on it, murder it out, and have official Tackle Freaks ride. So do me a favor, go ahead and share this video so we can get some more fishing freaks in, or as I like to say, tackle freaks. But the 1.5 DD from Strike King, this bait, they just put it on Instagram and everybody's looking for these. And Strike King actually called me and said, how did you get those? And guess what? I got a bunch of them left. This is Green Pumpkin Crawl. This is the #1 seller, and I got a bunch of these left. Runs about 9 feet. It's a deep diving version of their 1.5 square bill. Kind of, you know, it's a good bait. I've got to throw it a little bit. I was planning on going to Lake X and testing it out, but weather's going to keep me from that. So these are in stock. For you guys looking or missed out last week, log on Tackle Freaks, knock it out. I won't be here tomorrow, but Benji, Baitman assistant, will get all these for you. Something else that's come in, a lot of guys were asking about previously, and I did post on Instagram about this. This is the Shower Blow Frog. They call it the SS77. So if you search Shower Blow, sometimes you won't find it on the website. It's got the hair as the tail. It's got the Shower Blow cupped mouth. This thing walks back and forth, spits waters. Got a good hookup, really good soft body. If you like to frog fish, if you like to open water frog fish, this is the deal. Not the best mat frog in the world, but great around shallow cover. Stuff like that. What's up, Stephen Crawley? The Beard King over there. Puts my beard to shame. Dude catches some jaints too. Got to meet him this summer. What's up, Kerry Selby? See you guys in here, but that's the Evergreen Shower Blow Frog. Didn't get a chance to get one this spring. Now's a good time to go grab it while I still got some in stock. Next bait up is a bait from my buddy Mike Buka. You may have seen this on the front page of our website, but this is the Bull Wake. This is a 6-inch wake style swim bait, originated, you know, from the bull shad. It's got this lip that's probably about 75 degrees down. This guy right here is made for waking on top of the water. Brad, yes, I do have about 6 Jackal Grinches left. Get on Tackle Freaks right now and order them up. But that is the bull wake. Already sold several. I think this is the last one I got in stock. These are getting really hard to get. Mike cannot make them fast enough. If you want to catch janks, get you a bull wake. They've been smashing them on Gunnersville on this thing right here. You let me know a price on those XD rims. I got 20s on there now. They're black. But we'll see. Coming down in August to fish. Bless your heart, Aaron. That's the worst time ever to come to Kentucky Lake is in August. But alright, so I kind of got new products in. So let's knock out this right here. And this is how I carry and store my big worms. This is the Bass Mafia money bag. And I've got one of these full. I actually got about 4 full of worms at my house. And literally 2 of them are just one style. And I'll talk about my special worm here in just a minute. I've talked about it plenty of times before. But let's start on big worms. And I don't have rods and reels out here, so I'm gonna go over my setup really simple. You don't need nothing crazy for a big worm. I throw a Devon 744 quite a bit. A full handle Champion Series rod. It's 249 bucks. 7'4", heavy action, but it's got a soft tip. I like that when I want to get a lot of distance out. I'm fishing for a little bit bigger fish. Using up to about a ½ ounce weight. I never go heavier than a ½ ounce. The best way to get in line for the babes, stay tuned to our website. We're going to have more babes in July, buddy. First come, first serve. But Devon 744 is probably one of my favorite worm rods. Daiwa's got a new elite rod coming out that's like a 7'1" medium heavy. So I like a shorter rod when I'm making really precise casts. When I'm fishing brush piles, I'm going to a shorter rod because I'm not worried about distance. I'm worried about accuracy. Because it does me no good if I can cast 50 yards, but I'm not bringing it through the brush I want to be. So I'll use like a 7'1" medium heavy, something like that, even a 7-foot heavy. That's what I like for a worm. I gotta have tip to be accurate. I want some backbone in it. I'm not going to plug anything crazy. I've got a 7'3" heavy to 2 elite rod right now. It's a good worm rod. It's got some good tip, got good backbone. If I had my perfect choice, I'd look for a 7'3" medium heavy. The Ailer rod is really, really good. Of course, everywhere's out of stock on those. Loomis, man, if you want the best sensitivity, G Loomis NRX 854, 894, those are awesome worm rods. Price point wise, there's a lot of guys that's got a $99 rod out there that are really good for worm. But the deal is stick to that 7' to 7'2" medium heavy, or something around 7'4" if you're fishing for around a lot of bigger fish. Hey Aaron, what's up, buddy? So let's talk about worms, and I'm just going to go right into it right now. This is kind of the worm that really started it all, and this is the Berkeley Power Worm, and still one of my personal favorite worms. Doesn't get talked about a lot, and this is Blue Fleck. This really started the big worm craze when they come out with these things. Man, Joseph, I'd love to. I've never been there before, but you know, Kentucky Lake, Clear Lake, it doesn't matter. It seems like every part of the country, Blue Fleck is really popular, and a lot of people think it's black and blue. It's more of like a raspberry with blue flake. I don't know how well you guys can see that. What's up, Tim? I'm glad you made it through basketball season okay, buddy. I was getting worried about you there at first, but I enjoy your basketball talk. Very passionate about the sport. One of the most knowledgeable guys I know about it. You are the basketball man. But that's Blue Fleck. So 10-inch power worm. It's kind of got this segmented body, a solid ribbon tail. They used to make them in a 12-inch, and they still do. They're exclusive to Bass Pro Shop right now, but hopefully we get over that. Where's the 12 plum? I'm not going to get into a big color show, but pretty much you're going to fish the Tennessee River, Blue Fleck, plum, and some kind of plum. And that's all you really need. I do like green pumpkin quite a bit as well. But that is the big worm that started it all. Now the old school power worms, when they actually had a tail that was glued to the body, like the green pumpkin chartreuse and black and chartreuse. glued to the body. That was old school. But hey, Cody, what's up? From Kansas. Wow, man. Rock Chalk Jayhawk. But plum, blue fleck, it's really, really hard to beat this. I like this worm on Lake Barkley a whole lot. For some reason, when I'm fishing stumps and stuff like that, they bite this. But the good thing about the power worms, they got that famous scent on them. And I'm a believer that fish really do hold this bait longer. So that is your 10-inch power worm. Of course, they also make a 7. I'm going to show y'all some rigging stuff in a minute. I don't want to do it with this power worm. It'll fall apart. But Berkeley also has another big worm out, if you do or don't know about it. And I have found out it is a great worm, especially for fishing in brush piles. And before I go any farther, let's talk about this real quick. Guys asked me, they said, someone made a question, talk about the difference between worms for fishing brush piles and worms for fishing, you know, open water ledges. I like really a 7.5 to 9-inch worm for a brush pile, more on your ribbon tail style. My favorite of all time, best worm ever, won more money on Kentucky Lake, is the Lucky Strike original ringworm. And I don't have my worms I have at home. I've got the store's worms, and I'll show you that ringworm. I'm telling you guys, from Grand Lake by these guys in Kansas, they know the power of this bait right here. So this ringworm's 9 inches. It's a very soft, ribbon tail like, and you can see how flexible it is. But for some reason, this dude in a brush pile, it's like putting a donut in front of me. I just cannot handle it. But plum is about the only color I throw. They make a grape neon. When that water gets clear, I do good on the watermelon. You know, I always got plum or some variation of red, but this ringworm, you can go look up history. Marizo Shimizo went on this worm. Brick Cone has won tons of money out here. Local guy. Dude, the pros know. When they come to Kentucky Lake, they may tell you this crazy prototype worm, they're throwing this right here. That or they're just throwing an old monster. But I really like a slender ribbon tail worm in a brush pile. Versus like a bullworm or something like that. Now I will go to a Magnum trick worm when it gets really, really tough, and I just want to let it sit in the brush pile. And I'll show you how I rig a Magnum trick worm for brush pile fishing. Hey Troy, not a problem, man. Thanks again. Anytime you come in, I'm always appreciative. But I've got some of these in stock on Tackle Freaks. They're hard to get. I've got a bunch of plum ones ordered. We'll see if they get here. How much are those bags you have your worm in? Craig, they're $9.95 on Tackle Freaks. And they are very, very nice. And I put swim baits in mine. Bass Mafia's got its going on. But so let's get back into big worms. Let's go back to Berkeley real quick. This is a very similar to the worm I just showed you. This is the Berkeley Kingtail worm. What's up, Tony? So the Kingtail worm is made of Berkeley Max Scent. So that's the new stuff. It's really good. It's kind of like Gulp, but it's not biodegradable. So the Kingtail worm is quite a bit smaller. It's kind of a hybrid between a ringworm and like the dead ringer, but it is solid. These little things right here, they're not as extruded as the ringworm, but this is a good brush pile worm right here. A very slender profile. It's got some action here on the tail, and it's got that new Berkeley Max Scent on it. And I love the Max Scent, especially if you like the general worm. That Cinco has been awesome. I'm a firm believer in the new Max Scent stuff. It's great, and I've got some of these of my own. It does catch some fish. I'm gonna go out to Lake X, and I'm thinking I'm gonna do a worm challenge and go from the smallest to the biggest. Thomas, I'll get to that in a minute. I am not Randy Flowers. Look, my hands are gone, I promise you. And all I have to say to Shane Joel and all those guys, whatever the guy tracing the IP address is, dude, I'll call you out personally. I have no reason to hide behind a fake account. And I think Randy Flowers is freaking hilarious. And whoever does it is my hero. But it is not me. And speaking of, have you talked about the man's jelly worm? You know, I haven't, Randy, and I wish I had some in here, but that big jelly worm was a game changer at the time. That Mr. Twister were really the first companies putting out those big worms, and then everywhere kind of flocked to the Berkeley Power Worm. I know old Chuck Rounds, one of the best co-anglers ever, he loves that big jelly worm, and they used to make a 12-inch Phenom Worm, and we're going to talk about Mr. Twister in a little bit. So that's the Berkeley Kingtail Worm, great brush pile, more of a finesse ribbon tail. So let's get into the meat here. Let's talk about Zoom real quick. So this is a Zoom Old Monster. This is a color called Huckleberry. I'm out of plum. They make these in blue fleck. This is your standard 10.5-inch worm. So I'm going to show you how I rig this thing up. There's many different hooks. A lot of guys use an EWG style hook. I do not. This is my #1 hook. This is the Owner all-purpose worm hook. It is just a round bend hook. And I'm going to show you guys why I don't like an EWG for a big worm here in a second. Me personally. Now there's some that are better than others. But just standard, I use basically a 5/16 sinker when I want to fish really slow and methodical. If I'm fishing, you know, 15, 16 foot or less, I like the 5/16, no wind. Yes, I use a plain sinker. I'm going to be honest with you. There's something about that silver flash they like. When I'm fishing really deep, I'm going 1/2 ounce most of the time. You know, this is fishing 24 to 25 feet deep if it's really, really windy. So slide my tungsten sinker on there, and then I take my Owner all-purpose worm hook. This is a 5/0. Now, there's two sides to a worm, and there's also a seam, and you can see it on this worm. It's very hard to see it. I like this seam. I like to put my worm where the flat part is where the hook goes in. So my hook is facing the flat part of the worm. I run it down to the bend in the hook. Then I push it out. And I just a standard Texas rig. Then I figure out where I want that hook to come out, line it up on the back. And then I just push, and then I always pinch it right here, so I kind of expose that, and that's how I rig a big worm, right like that. So you think, man, that's a 10.5-inch worm, that's a really small hook, and it is a small hook. But if you'll notice on this straight shank hook, when I set the hook and pull forward, the angle that hook is right here. So when a bass comes and bites, the angle of this hook is pointing, if you guys can see that, the angle of this hook is pointing toward his mouth. Whereas an EWG hook, it points toward the worm. And I've always had good luck with these Owner worm hooks. Another good hook, and I use these quite a bit if I'm Carolina rigging, is this Gamakatsu offset shank worm hook. And this is the O'Shaughnessy bend. It's a 715. So there's quite a bit of difference, and I want to show you guys that real quick. So if you look at the bend on this O'Shaughnessy style, it's a little different. Almost looks like a jig hook versus the, turn the right way here. Got the O'Shaughnessy on the bottom, and then the all-purpose worm hook on the top. These are both 5/0 hooks. Let me get this right here so y'all can see it. I don't know if y'all can see the bend difference right here, but when you're pulling them up, you'll notice how the point of the hook is going up. Whereas a wide gap, it points back in toward this. O'Shaughnessy is a really good hook. So I go, same deal. You can see that curve very distinctively. Go in, just like the other one. Pull it right down there. That's about where the eye comes in. And just push it in there. Great hook. To expose it, nice and straight. You are ready to go. So that's the Zoom Old Monster. 10.5-inch worm. Now, if that's not big enough for you, if you've got to go a little bit bigger, let's see what we got here. And this is becoming a really popular worm here on Kentucky Lake. This is the Magnum Old Monster. So this is a 12-inch worm. And you can tell a huge, huge difference between a Magnum Old Monster. I've got to go back and the normal old monster. So this is a 10.5-inch worm versus a 12.5-inch, really almost 13. This is the color. This is plum. Really like this worm right here. Early, when these fish are feeding up on big meals, I really like this 12.5-inch worm. Now, a lot of companies don't make a hook that people are comfortable with this 12.5-inch worm. Well, Owner has a hook. If you want a really long round bend worm hook, this right here is the Owner Oversized worm hook. My phone just said 20% battery. Great. So this is a 7/0 worm hook, specially designed for these big worms. Very simple. Go down. Man, they gave me this, Evan. I'm special. They called me down there and said, we got a hat to give you. Said, you only got one of these hats if you caught a 100-pound tarpon. I did. But anyway, 7/0 worm hook, 12.5-inch worm. That's what you're going to get right there. So on a 12-inch worm, the 7/0 is still small, but man, I'm telling you, these fish bite these worms right here. Randy, I got it charged in, buddy. I've got one of these little, they're supposed to work, but you know how gas station stuff is. Half the shit don't ever work you buy there. So Tool City Tech, junk product. But this is a awesome worm hook, 7/0. So that is the Magnum Old Monster. Now, there's another worm I like to throw, and when we talk about really big worms too, over 12 inches. Ribbon tail. We're just going to go through all the ribbon tails right now. And I'm going to have to hurry my ass up. And that is this guy right here. This is the Gambler 13-inch worm. And you're going to see a trend here. Lots of reds, lots of plums. This is plum blue glitter. So, Gambler in this hand. Zoom here. Very similar. The Gambler is a little thinner. It's actually softer than the Zoom. The Gambler's got bang on it. And shoo-wee. God dang, that stinks. And then there's that. So I really like the Gambler a lot. I like the scent. It's really soft. Matter of fact, a few years ago I fished a Gambler only tournament. My partner was throwing a 10. I was throwing a 13 and probably catching 3 to 1 on this 13-inch Gambler worm. This worm has a lot better swimming action than this one. This is a bulkier meal though than that one. If I'm going to Mexico, I take 100 count of these worms right here and just snatch janes all day. So that's another big worm that I like a lot, and those are on Tackle Freaks. And Gambler also makes a 10-inch worm, and I really like this color right here. This is called Kissimmee Blue. For some reason, when we had grass, this color caught them really well. This is a great color in brackish water, stuff like that. Your Florida, Louisiana lakes, this Kissimmee Blue catches them. What about red shad? My dad throws old red shad, and I think Randy Flowers throws it as well. That is the #1 selling color from Zoom of all time, is red shad. I don't know how many red shad Zoom worms or culprit worms my dad used, but man, I guarantee he used a couple hundred of them, and it still catches them. When in doubt, buy red shad. If they don't have plum or blue fleck or whatever, buy red shad. Speaking of brush pile worms, here's another really good one that does not get a lot of love, and it is the Rage Tail Recon worm. So, I ran out of ringworms one day, and I started throwing this guy right here. It's got these really small ribs on it, and it's got this anaconda-like tail. Put on a little bit lighter weight. Throw this over the top of brush pile. This is a bad dude. It's kind of like the Zoom Dead Ringer, but man, this thing can catch them. Does not get a lot of love here. And you know, I'm just gonna go 4/0 hook on this thing right here, and I like this watermelon red color. Those are on Tackle Freaks. We just put them on, but you know, Strike King puts the coffee scent on it. I like this one because it's really soft, and if I want a big profile and not wanting to do a whole lot other than the fall, I kind of throw this around quite a bit. Now, let's see what else we got here. Dude, I got all kinds of cool stuff. Hopefully my battery doesn't die, because it's probably going to die. If you're just joining us, be sure to like it, like the video, and share it up. I'll upload this to YouTube as well. You were looking for a big worm in a blue craw color. Ricky, I got one. I got you. Hold on. The Baitman will always deliver. If you want blue craw, right here. Here you go, bud. This is a Zoom old monster. This is watermelon blue flash. Basically blue craw. So I got you covered. I've also got a Strike King bullworm in blue craw. So let's see if we got any more ribbon tails. Oh yeah, we got to go to the Mr. Twister. Speaking of Mr. Twister, this is the Phenom Worm. Aha. Old school. Still catches them really, really well. And you notice the Phenom has that little egg sac. But it's got the awesome ribbon tail. I don't throw them any Jean LaRue's. Mark, unfortunately, don't carry them either. So it'd be hard for me to talk about them. But this would be a good time for me to show you guys another hook that just come out. This is from Gamakatsu. Let me find that sucker somewhere. Wherever it is. Gamakatsu has a new worm hook, and I was going to show you guys, and I have lost the son of a gun. Where is that guy? Ah, right here. This is the Gamakatsu G Finesse hybrid worm hook. So this is a blend of an EWG and an O'Shaughnessy style hook. And it's got the G Finesse wire in it that everybody's really, really likes. I'm going to get these out of the pack and show you how what it looks like on this Phenom worm here. If I can. Probably not. I'm going to hook myself. Alright. Yes, they did, Spencer. Yes, they did. They got a new worm called the machete worm. I haven't tried it yet, but it's more of a swimming worm. But that's the new G Finesse hybrid worm hook. I'm really digging this hook. It's a little bit of a wide gap mixed with that O'Shaughnessy. But anyway, we're going to see how it looks on the old worm. This is the Mr. Twister Phenom Worm. This color's Bama Bug. Looks good. Purple, green pumpkin mix. Little green flake in there. And these are priced really well. $3.79 on TackleFreaks.com. Man, Jason, you know, you do a video for Shimano and it gets 50,000 views. You would think they might send a guy a hat. Actually, they did send me a hat. I don't know about you guys, but I like that hook. Still kind of more of a traditional wide gap, but I love the G Finesse material a lot. Yeah, dude, you can definitely, I'll take a picture for you, Thomas. It's crazy, but that's the Phenom Worm, and that has been a popular worm for a long time on the Tennessee River. But Mr. Twister has another worm, and it's gotten a little press lately because it's caught some giant sacks of fish. Kevin, yes, Bucket Mouth Baits makes a big paddle tail worm. Lucky Strike still makes the baby Huey. I've got some ordered. They are coming. Great worm. Great worm. So let's talk about this worm right here. This is a 12-inch worm for Mr. Twister. This is the Mag Buzzworm, 12 inches. This is my favorite color. This is Cran Apple. I actually got to throw this with Clint Davis last year on Kentucky Lake before they were out in production. First cast, I caught a 5-pounder. So the trick on this worm is, see, the tail, you have like your Zoom speed crawl or the speed tail on it, you know, like you have in your speed worm or whatnot. But it's got all these little bitty segments. It's real skinny, so it gives you lots of action. The way I like to rig this thing, and what Clint showed me, is put it on some kind of wobble head. So I'm going to show you how to make your own wobble head. I've got all kinds of stuff going on. Strike King, I can't ever find one I really like, but Strike King makes these tour grade football, swinging football heads. So what I do is this one's 1 ounce. When you throw these on a wobblehead, you do want a heavy weight. So this one is 1 ounce. If I can get this out of the package. So I've got this out of the package. You'll notice right here, I don't know how well you see, it's got a place to put your own hook on. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to put me a hook. I'm just going to use this Gamakatsu hook for just demonstration purposes. I'm going to slide this hook on here like so. So now I've just made my own football head, a swinging football head. This buzzworm, awesome on this thing right here. So it's really long worm. So if you wanted to, you can take these swinging football heads. You can put that owner 7/0 hook on it. So I always pull this down. This one's probably not going to work very good. I'll pull my worm up right into the little seam of this, so this can swivel around. They make it in the red black core. I don't know, but they've got a Raven red special. So now I've got this buzzworm on this swinging football head. So now I can throw this big worm with this speed tail, and I can slowly reel it on the bottom. I'll just expose my hook point there to not get hung up. I don't like wobbleheads and brush piles. I get hung up really bad. If I'm going to throw them in brush, I'm going to use the flat Strike King structure head. And that's how a lot of guys throw these big bullworms. They throw them on these wobble heads. But that mag buzzworms. I think these are pretty cheap for a pack of like 5. They're like $4 or something. Log on Tackle Freaks. Any of these worms you see tonight are on there. Inventory is nice, fresh, and updated. So, but that little football head thing, that's awesome. Use those quite a bit. Matter of fact, Crispin, if you're watching, ship some to my house. I need them bad, buddy. So we've got all Mr. Twister knocked out and Zoom, Strike King. Now let's get into these big what I call bull worms, big 10-inch worms. And if you know, last week Jake Lawrence was throwing this guy right here. This is the V&M J-Pow worm. It is the J-Mag. You know, this is a 10-inch V&M. These float really, really well. It's got this big bulbous tail. This is watermelon red. So when I'm throwing these bigger bull worms, I am going to go to a bigger hook. There's a lot of meat in here, a lot of plastic. So I personally have been using this one right here. I'm not an EWG guy fan. If I'm going to Texas rig this, I'm going 6/0 owner jungle wide gap, made out of that Zowire, and you can get this in a 7/0 as well. It's got a really big gap on this thing, but you need it for this big plastic. Normally I would go round bend, but you could put this on one of those Strike King football heads and have the biggest freaking wobble head you've ever seen in your life. And I will just Texas rig this on a big weight and go right here. This is a big old worm. You can also Neko rig it. Yes, you can Neko rig this big giant ass worm and it catches them straight up. Put you a small Neko rig hook in there and it's going to bend over just like that right there. Put you some weight. I always have hookup issues fishing the wobblehead and the big worm. Typically catch one of 3. Most of the fish come off. Hook doesn't even penetrate. Any ideas? Quit using wobbleheads that have EWG hooks on them. Go to a round bend. Make your own. Buy stuff like these tungsten heads and go to more of like a round bend style hook. Also, your rod might actually be too heavy. I like a medium heavy. And I like to let those fish load up on it. That Neko rig is deadly, man. So that's the V&M 10-inch worm, the J-Mag, just one here on Kentucky Lake. If you've seen with Jake Lawrence last week. And then I've got, and you've seen this, you guys know, this is the Strike King 10-inch bullworm. That right there, that is dynamite on Kentucky Lake and Guntersville, and it is quite a bit thicker, if you'll notice, than The J-Mag is going to be a lot better wacky rigged or Neko rigged. And yes, you can wacky rig out deep. How about those weights in BFLs? Kentucky Lake and Serious trouble. Yes. I don't know about Serious. It's in trouble, but there's been a lot of shad out there this year. We are in a downturn. I'm not going to say the lake is doomed, but we need to watch the fishing pressure. We need to take care of fish. And in general, just be smart about it. And we've got to do something about the carp. We've got to control them. So bullworm, J-Mag worm. So the J-Mag considerably thinner. The bullworm is big, huge, bulbous, fat. But Strike King has a special hook for this giant worm. It is a giant. And that is one of the hottest selling pieces of terminal tackle we have in. This is the Mag Jig Head from Strike King. This is a 5/8 ounce, so it's a heavy half, which is my favorite size when I'm throwing these big worms. And it's got this owner centering pin spring. And I may have showed y'all a week or two ago, but all you got to do is line the tip of that worm up with the centering pin. And sometimes it's kind of hard to do because I can't ever get a really good grip on this thing. And just push this pin in the front of the bait and start spinning the bait. And it will run right up there on that centering pin. And then all you got to do is line up this big ass 7/0 hook with your bait. And that guy right there is ready to catch jinks. Yes, it does have a 5/0 and a 7/0. Pete, the one I have is the 7/0. And it's going to make that worm kind of do this deal right here. So that is the big giant structure head and the 10-inch bull worm. Now the bull worm has a baby brother. It is the 8-inch bull worm. I'm going to show it to you. And I actually like to rig these bullworms and stuff on those big shaky heads, stuff like that. These are not, I don't throw these worms in brush piles very much. Someone was asking about blue craw. My two favorite colors, believe it or not, in this, I love this Morning Dawn color in the bullworm. And what's cool is how they pour this. It's kind of got a tri-color. So you've got that blue in the middle. That's Morning Dawn. Great Neko rig bait right there. A good regular Texas rig. But the 8-inch has a really flat bottle. This is kind of my favorite color in the bullworm. Yeah, Stevie, get on there. Get on Tackle Freaks, man. Love big worms for night fishing. We're going to do a night fishing show soon. Got my buddy Craig Hipsher going to be on here. So this color is blue craw. Really, really awesome. And these worms, bullworms, are loaded with salt. Would those work on a Z-Man head? If you're talking about a Ned rig, absolutely not. That would be the worst thing to ever throw on here. The hook would be way too small. That is the bullworm 8-inch blue craw. Now another cool shaky head I just put in stock. It's from 6 cents. This is the Devon shaky head. And personally, it's pretty sweet. This is 5/8 of an ounce and a 7/0 hook. Stand-up design, as you see. And let's put this bullworm on it and see what it looks like. So again, you got a nice screw there. So all you have to do is line it up and start a screwing. I try to get it in the center as much as possible. Screw this thing up on here. And I'm going to stop when it's nice and straight. See, it's got an EWG style hook on this. Push it right here to the middle. Just to expose it. Oh man, that right there looks killer. That's the 6 cents Devon shaky head 8-inch Strike King bullworm. Ooh, looks nice. Looks nice. I just put those on tacklefreaks.com. They're on the front page. Well, Chad, come to my house, buddy. I've got all kinds of Lucky Strike sneaky snakes and cranapple. Stole them out of Matt Bryan's boat. No, I didn't really take him out of his boat, but he had some. I got him. That's an awesome worm. But that is a sweet looking new shaky head from 6 cents. That is the Devon. Log on to Tackle Freaks. We'll get you taken care of. Just put those on there today. Now, another really, really good worm. Oh, I left out somebody. I forgot to put this guy on here. We got any net bait fans in here? Because this is one of the best worms out there. This is the net bait Cmac. Another good ribbon tail bait. Very underrated. A lot of guys don't talk about the Cmac. Got the pork fat cooked in. Man, I love net bait worms. Net bait makes great anything. Well, I'm not really on a topwater show tonight, buddy. We'll talk about that later, but shower blow is the deal. Shower blow and a dog X are totally different baits. But my favorite worm right now, that's not a ringworm, and I've caught more fish on this sucker in the last 3 years than any other ribbon tail worm. This guy right here. Zoom Mag Trick Worm in plum. And I've got 10% of my battery left. But this guy right here, put it on a shaky head and go. A lot of guys throw them on these X-Sight, X-Lock heads, and I just put those on Tackle Freaks. I actually use this right here when I need a bite and I need to catch a jaint. Believe it or not, I put it on a 1/4 ounce Picasso shakedown head. I know the hook is small, but I have caught a ton of big fish on this bait. Jeff Defew as my witness. The Mag Trick and plum, always a good one. Man, I wish I could get my battery charged. It's gonna be like the shortest show, and I was so excited to do this. But man, you guys blow me up all day long. Y'all gotta have baits. Y'all wanna talk, and that's fine, guys. I appreciate it. But man, y'all smoke my battery all day. But I love that Mag Trick Worm plum. Plum Crazy is good, but it's a special run color. This is one I really like. This is Raspberry Shad special run color. And I am going to make a short show of this because, guys, I'm going to make a YouTube video. The best big worms, top 10 best big worms. And I don't want to ruin everything. And that's Green Pumpkin Magic. That's a big seller. So, guys, do me a favor tonight. Log on to tacklefreaks.com. Grab you some worms. We're going to get it. I've got a big stock of stuff. We got Picasso tungsten. I got all those hooks I just mentioned on the show. Grab you some owners. Grab you those new Gamakatsus. And also grab some of this. This is Strike Force Fish Attractant. So what? So if you don't know about Strike Force, you're going to start seeing a couple big name pros using this. But my buddy, Ronnie Critchlow. Ronnie used to own the cabin. Still a great friend of mine. He owns Strike Force now. Take you some Strike Force. And it stinks. God, do not do this around your wife. She will kick you out. The best way to use this stuff in this spray bottle is open up your favorite bag of worms and make you a couple squirts in there. It's all you need is a couple. You don't need to put a whole lot, just a couple in there. And man, this thing is gonna reek. But man, I'm telling you, I secretly use this quite a bit. I'm not a big scent guy, but when I do, it's Strike Force. This bottle could last you all season. All you need is a couple squirts of this in there, and your worms are going to stink. They got a garlic smell, but I actually like using this. This is a tip, guys. If you're fishing brush piles, a lot of cover, you want your worm to be coated with something so your worm can slide very easily through that brush. If you fish grass, you've got to have some scent on there. It lubricates that worm. It leaves a scent trail. Whether you believe in it or not, I can tell you, I've had my butt kicked by somebody using Strike Force, and I had to go. Ronnie has showed me the way several years ago, but Strike Force is priced very well. Dude, it stinks worse than smelly jelly. JB's Fish Sauce wishes they had the recipe for Strike Force. It is, I'm telling you, it is really good. The only other thing I use other than that is, if you're Florida guys, the Fish Bomb with the UV garlic is really good as well. and puts that UV on there. Both are good, but final thought tonight, use the Strike Force. And this is a locally made deal. And man, dude, Ronnie from the cat, Ronnie's my buddy. You know, he wouldn't have bought the company if he didn't believe in it. I'll put it that way. And I've got some at my house, but got them on Tackle Freaks. Very convenient if you're a co-angler too, because it's very easy to put the Strike Force in your little bag right on the side. Throw it in your backpack, pond hopping, not a big deal. John, I do know the price of the garlic that goes in here went through the roof, and Ronnie is trying to keep it reasonable, but we're all business. We got to make money. Guys, I'm going to jump off here. My phone is about to die. Very fast show tonight. Not the best one I've ever done. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of disappointed. But I'm going to put a lot of this stuff on YouTube. I got more videos on YouTube coming this week, so do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel, watch the videos, support everything. Buy some stuff from Tackle Freaks. We'll get it shipped out to you. I gotta get like a freaking deep cycle cell phone battery. That's a good idea. Guys, love everybody on here. Glad to do it again. Next week we're going to have another show. Let's talk about deep crankbaits. I'm ready to do some deep cranking. They're not biting it, but we got to talk about it. Guys, I'll see y'all next week. See you this weekend here at TackleFreaks.com. Sunday night, I'll be live on YouTube.